for a new person coming in, there's a tremendous amount of information you need to get up to speed on. The first thing you need to learn is you can't do it by yourself. You need to go out to people in your community, your campus community, and even outside your campus, and find out who all has already been involved, who has an interest in issues of accessibility, and not even from a disability perspective, because accessible technology is usable technology. The second thing is start building your partnerships. And the third thing is to attend conferences like AHEAD, like Accessing Higher Ground, where you can get basic information but also interact with the people who work in the business. Because the vast majority of them are more than willing to help you in any way they possibly can. And most importantly, talk to the students you're serving to find out what they need. Because in many instances, what you think they need and what they need are radically different, and what they actually need and can use is much simpler. For years, we've been doing service delivery without the active involvement and engagement of the people who are going to use our services. Now, it's tough to make this happen, but that's always your first avenue. The other would be you're always going to have students who have been in that world for a while. And they're not going to want to get on your advisory groups, other things, because they're busy being students. But buy them lunch. Settle a meeting. Do a brown bag. I actually do a lot of work with institutional evaluations and going in and looking at what is the state of accessibility. It's not your job to provide all services in all regards for people with disabilities on your campus. In many instances, your best input is that of a consultant. If it's an issue of technology, it's actually IT's responsibility. And more, I personally do not even use the term assistive technology, other than the fact that that's the same old stuff as your other software and hardware. There are exceptions to that. Facilities. Most of you aren't competent to read a blueprint, yet you're asked to do so. It's never wrong, especially as a new employee, you never want to say no. You never want to say, I can't do that. Those are two of the first things you need to learn. Because when someone comes and asks you to do something that you know absolutely nothing about, if you work in that mindset that I have to be all things to all people, number one, you're going to perpetuate this disability ghetto we have going on in higher ed. And number two, you're going to feel obligated to get up to speed on something that someone else on your campus is already an expert in. Responsibility for accessibility is the campus's responsibility, not the disability service person. And so if you don't have a process, and really the end of grant year stuff is really important. The other is when a department or faculty member applies for a grant. And they go out and spend $10,000 of grant money on a piece of software. It happens all the time. Your campus has to have things in place to prevent that, procurement guidelines. Some of you live in states where Section 508 of the Rehab Act applies, but nobody applies it. So there is that piece in the background, but the last place you want to go is to the law to try to get what you want. ATHEN, been around now for about 8 years, and it was founded by me and several other folks to address the need of support for people who work exclusively in higher education as specialists on campuses, as consultants. We have vendors involved in the organization to deal with those unique issues of delivering technology access under the laws that serve higher ed. There's good resource bases in K-12 education. As a matter of fact, access technology is a certification area or a licensure area. There's no such thing in higher ed. So ATHEN was created to meet that need. And we have a great listserv. I don't know of hardly anybody in the ATHEN culture that isn't willing to share and to help you, as long as you're willing to help yourself.